Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a quick chat about the future of NFTs. Something which I don't think a lot of people are talking about, something I think that going forward NFT communities are going to need to think about, but it's become a problem now because we have projects that are amassing huge amounts of market caps, very large market caps, that we have no idea what to do with or how to manage it all. So settle in and enjoy the ride. So at this moment in time, NFTs are going through this art renaissance. They're creating projects, they're providing utility. We've talked a bit about that before. You know, some are moving into the gaming world and are being used as gaming tokens, and off the back of that games are being created. Specifically, I want to talk about organizing communities and the iffy way that it's happening at the moment. So right now, NFT communities kind of really all just sit in Discords, and which is good. Discord wasn't made for that, but it's good at what it does, especially with the Discord environment and the bots that you can set up and stuff like that. Brilliant. However, we're getting to a point where something like Bored Ape Yacht Club has amassed 2 billion in a market cap or in sales and whatever, and it's how do you manage the wealthy individuals that have bought into these things? How do you retain them so that they feel like they're getting value for money? And I guess that because this thing is so new, no one's really figured it out or figured out a way to do it as such. And I want to discuss that. So there's two sides of this coin, so to speak. There's the social tokens argument, and then there's the non-fungible argument. Some suggest that we have the opportunity with NFTs that exist, all of this exists already, i.e. you are able to organize communities behind NFTs and you do not need a social token or you do not need fungible objects to maintain that, right? So people, the people that have an NFT, they could sign up to a website and you could organize it through that. You know their wallet addresses because of the NFTs. However, the social tokens argument is that if you have a social token, let's say you're an artist that's blowing up on Spotify right now, and as a consumer of that, you are buying into that artist. You are buying into everything that he or she produces, and as they go up the chain of stardom, you are continuing to purchase their content. You're seeing them on TVs, blah 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 blah. They get to the peak of Hollywood celebrityism, whatever it's called, and they've reached the top of the mountain. What happens then? As a fan, you're super happy, but also, like, you've consumed all of this stuff. Do you want something in return? Who knows? Now, if they had sold you social tokens at the beginning of their journey into this foray of music, of acting or whatever, right? And you held those, by the time they get to the top, those would be probably worth a lot of money. And they'd be good in the interest of the consumer. However, they would not be good in the interest of the artist, because the artist would want to sell a lot of tokens as they're going up their career, as they're moving on with their career, and they're raising in popularity and things like that. But that means that there is a liquidity of tokens in the market, which means that yours isn't as valued as someone else's. So yours is of a lower value later on in the pop artists, music artists' life, stardom life, call it that, right? Career, which isn't really good for the consumer of their content, for the consumer of their music, for the consumer of their films. And I believe that is called the Taylor Swift hypothesis, something which has been talked about in crypto circles, excuse me. But the rebuttal to that is that NFTs might be actually good at raising capital. And essentially what you have is a bank account and a cap table. And the fungible token represents a cap table that you can use to pay people. So this is the social token, and sell for investment and reward people for the work they do in the community. But all of those things are very hard to do with NFTs, right? And unless you're minting new NFTs all the time and giving them away, or you're holding bags of NFTs, you're going to get stuck at some point, which really sucks. And you don't really want to be in that position where you can't be creative and you can't express your creativity because you know you're going to have to hold on to that so that it can generate some hype and some revenue later on in life, potentially. And if you do release it, it might throw the market into a complete abyss. Your consumer, the secondary market, might not actually like that. So what do you do? And I think it's a bit of both, right? You have a social token as well as NFTs. And we're going to get to a position where both are happening. So maybe you get into the position where there are now DAOs that are formulating decentralized autonomous organizations, which are forming around artists, where people buy into that artist's career and they are funding them from the beginning with the idea that they get a return at some point on their investments. And when you look at it like that, the artist can then also sell NFTs as a way of, generating another source of income, giving back to his or her community, expressing their creative work through a technology which is able to be consumed by people, in addition to being able to be funded from the start and have opportunities from the get-go because people believe in them. I like that idea. For instance, if you take me as an example, I'm at the start of this whole YouTubing, podcasting career of mine, right? I've been doing it for about a year. Content creation. I've been doing it for about a year, and no one's really come up to me and been like, I want to invest in you. I think you're going to be great. But if I formulated some sort of decentralized autonomous organization, some sort of social token around me, well, what you could have is that I could raise capital for me to go and pursue things that otherwise I wouldn't be able to do because they require high barriers to entry due to the monetary cost. So if I wanted to fly to New York to go and interview someone, Jay-Z for instance, I would be apprehensive against doing that because I know it's going to cost me a large amount of money, right? But if I had people investing in me and saying, yes, I'd love to see that, well, then I'd be able to do that because one, the capital that is formulated is because they have suggested that I go and do this interview or I go and create this video. And as a result, I then have a solid purpose for that capital to go and produce that video, which they are then going to consume and have a return on their investment. So in a way, what you're actually getting is the ability to, the community has the ability to now buy into your success, right? They own a piece of your success as well because they have bought into that YouTube video, they have bought into that movie, they have bought into that record. I believe Nas is doing something with the royalties on his latest video. So I find this is going to be a really interesting space going forward, and you will see more artists, you will see more celebrities, you will see more creators doing this to fund passion projects, to fund their lives. I've even gone as far as thinking, what if my whole career was done just like this? I.e., I set up an organization, I set up some sort of social token that people buy into, raise capital for, with the sole purpose of producing the videos that they want instead of me thinking about it. Now, would you be interested in something like that? Because a lot of the time, it's always on the creator to come up with something new. It's never on. It's not that it's never on. It's unlikely that the consumer wants a video to be made. Because when I ask my consumers, or you find that when creators ask consumers, they're not too sure what they want. So we give them what we think they want, and then we react to their comments, their likes, the views, and we see if that was a good video or a bad video for our specific communities. But in this case, I could actually go out, and it could be quite a cool way of actually just funding the content that I make, instead of having to, it's hand to mouth type vibes, or really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel to figure out, creative ways of doing things. I mean, this setup's great, don't get me wrong. I'm privileged to be in this position to create videos like this and to be in a space that is so humbling and great, and the community is so awesome, right? But at the same time, I want to create amazing things. I just don't have the cash to go and do that. But this gives us the opportunity to. And I like that. I like that about it. Yeah, I think that's quite cool. I think that is very cool. What would you do if you had social tokens, or you had some sort of way of formulating capital around you in a DAO, or you had a way of connecting with your audience that you never had before? What you could even do is you could start setting up businesses with your communities. You could start setting up businesses with your favorite fans, the people that buy most at your store, right? Because they've invested so much over time. But if that was going into a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, right, then you have your top 10 biggest fans, your top 10 biggest consumers of your content, consumers in your brand, that you could actually go into business with them. You could go down a business road with them and create something that provides even value to them, in addition to providing value for you. So not only do you start to get an income, they start to get an income, and now they have a vested interest in promoting your content because you want to do well, promoting your brand because you want to do well. Man, the things you think of, eh? It's like someone bought the Constitution. A group of people formulated around in a DAO to buy the Constitution for, I think it's 42 million or something, and that's great, right? But it's then what? What do we do after that? We've just spent that much money on the Constitution. What happens after that? What happens afterwards is going to be what happens next for NFTs. What happens next for the communities that are being built around projects. It's less about the NFT itself, it's more about the community and what happens to those communities. How do you organize those communities? How do you manage a community that has a market cap of has amassed a market cap of 2 billion? That when we figure out how to solve that problem, and there's a format for that, someone is going to make a lot of money and someone is going to have a really great community to work with. And not only is it going to happen in one way, it's going to happen in a plethora of different ways, and they're going to be innovative. And so I might actually set up my own DAO. I might set up my own social token and see what happens. And we'll go from there. And if you're interested, just shoot me a DM. And if you know how to do it, shoot me a DM, and I'd love to work with you and figure this out and use it as an experiment. And let's see where we go from there. Hope you have a great day and you found this interesting. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever the hoo-ha is. And as long as you're enjoying this and you're getting some sort of inspiration for your own brands and your own content and your own life, well, I'm happy. Have a great day.